the end of this video, you are gonna know exactly how my bees cool and protected from the heat and more productive. Trigger warning, this is gonna piss off almost every standard beekeeper there is because I break all the rules. Most of my information is gonna come from 2 books, tons of things around Dr. Seeley and Dr. Leo Sharoskin. So you bee people out there can rest assured I have done my research, but nonetheless, go down to the comments below for some interesting, hateful comments from beekeepers who are all about loving each other and other creatures. All right, keeping your bees from being too hot. Now, bees are notoriously good for regulating their own temperature in the hive. They keep the inside of their hive at the same temperature all year round, no matter how hot or cold it is. But they do this at the expense of resource consumption, either gathering more resources if it's too hot, because they're gonna be trying to stay out cool, or in the wintertime, consuming resources to stay warm. What do you do if you want them to continue to extend their time frame? Very, very simple. The first and foremost thing you can do is the most important. It is, what type of hive are you putting your bees in? If you are a brand new beekeeper or you're thinking about expanding your apiary or getting into it, I highly suggest an extremely well-insulated hive. They sell some, there's links below. If you insist on being a laying straw hive person that has the vertical ones, they have some great insulated options. I use a horizontal hive system and it's got wool insulation, 360 degrees around it, on the sides and on the bottom, and in the wintertime, I have foam on top, or I insulate the top of the hive. This simulates in nature, bees will pick a thick tree hollow. One of the biggest issues is hive selection, because modern hives that you get for laying straw hives normally are little pine wood thin boxes. Who cares about those bees and their pine boxes? They're cheap for me, the beekeeper, and they're easy for me to use, and Grandpappy did it that way, so why should I listen to you? Well, that's a great question. Because Grandpappy's Grandpappy didn't do it that way, and this is the Langstroth hive, as we know today, was invented very late, right? If you get something with insulation, it mimics a tree that has much thicker walls, and there's a larger thermal mass. The bees don't have to spend as much time regulating it. Yes, they will continue to regulate it, but they don't have to, the better it is insulated. My horizontal hives insulated very well. I rarely see bearding. Bearding is when all the bees will go outside and hang out on the outside of the hive because there's too many bees inside, it gets too hot. Their next step after bearding is fly and go get water and bring it back to the hive. They'll actually spray it onto the hive and then they'll beat their wings and it will do evaporative cooling. Just like sweating. Bees will create sweat. It's the craziest thing. All right, so that's number 1. Picking the right type of hive. You can get an insulated hive, a horizontal hive from Dr. Leo Sharoskin. You get one down below. You can build one. He's got free plans. His site's below. I get nothing from it. I just love their stuff. That's why I'm recommending it. Second thing, I already mentioned it, water. Have a water source nearby. If you don't have a water source nearby, maybe your neighbor has a pool, be assured on a hot day, they're gonna be over there. If you have a water source nearby your bees, then they're gonna be able to collect water and do the necessary cooling themselves if they need to. So that is a very positive thing. All right, that one's not very controversial. The first one was, have a insulated hive. The next one, this is gonna be the very first controversial one, which I always save for the 3rd slot, for my top 3 slot, is I put my hives in the shade. Oh my God, I can't believe you put hives in the shade. How could you put hives in the shade? When you put hives in the shade, in the summer months, it's gonna protect them. It's gonna protect them a little bit for inclement weather. You're keeping that radiation from the sun from reaching it. Most apiarists do not put their hives in the shade. And the reason they don't put the hives in the shade is because of pest control, and a lot of reasons why people will freak out about pest control is because of black hive beetles. Small hive beetles' life cycle includes crawling out, laying eggs in the soil, and it'll break some pest cycles. You put your hives in a sunny field where there is no shade, small hive beetles don't like it as much. And so because they don't like it as much, there's less of them and they'll not stick around in your hive. But I believe that the benefits outweigh the cons by far. There's on average a 15-degree drop in cooling if you are in the shade versus not in the shade. This greatly reduces the time and effort that the bees have to use to keep their hive cool. The more their hive is regulated based on the weather and normal temperatures, the less effort the bees have to do it, the less effort the bees have to put into it. So those bees are then going to be happy and go forage, right? While other bees and other apiaries in your area are fighting the heat wave, your bees don't have to deal with any of that, and they can carry on about their business, right? Probably during July and August, your main honey flow is probably over or close to over. There is more competition moving into the season of bees robbing other hives. The stronger your hive is, the better they can protect their resource. Now, what we can do is we can look to nature. Again, nature. Part of our thing on a permaculture homestead or permaculture background is try to mimic natural cycles. Almost all bees pick homes that were hollow trees that are in a forested area, right, or some shady area, and naturally the bees are going to gravitate to something. And so the natural bees, or bees that have gone feral, who make it several generations, are going to be surviving, and it's their home selection that does this. As humans, with the Langstroth method and a vertical hive, aka a normal hive that you see when you go to your local hardware store, those are a human-created thing that maximizes honey at the expense of the bees and at the expense of the humans, which leads the humans having to then play nature or play God and try to manage the pests for the bees. And then every time we pull the honey, they can be upset and leave because, right? If you mimic more natural surroundings, you're going to have a lot better time. Those bees are going to appreciate you better and probably be less likely to leave after you've collected honey. There's less likely a chance. There's a smaller chance of them being upset and just absconding because you left that position. I know that this was a crazy section. I know this is a touchy subject. If you ask 10 beekeepers a question, you're going to get 12 answers. Everyone very passionate. So those keyboard commandos below, you just go down there, you tell me how wrong I am. If you like this kind of content, remember we just got merch on the store because you guys requested it. And here's the top of it. If you can like and subscribe, but better yet, share. If you think this video is going to get to somebody, my one ask is if you can please share this video with someone you think would get value out of it. If you got value, please like and subscribe as well. All right, in this day and age, someone behind the computer. Oh, remember to like and subscribe. We will see you next time. Go out there and grow something.